is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the studs.
And second of all, because I'm a stud.
And the duds.
You got the dud!
From the Detroit Lions game yesterday against Washington. So let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we're doing a little bit of a different segment that I think we've actually done before, but we got away from it. But now we're back, and it is studs and it duds. So we've tried to do the report card where we did grade things, and I really never know how to do it, right? Do I want to grade it by positional group? Do I just grade a few players? You know, do I grade by like passing off? How do I do that? There's so many different things that go into it. How do I do it? It's hard to keep that consistent. But what if we just do studs and it duds? Let's keep it simple. Let's just talk about the few players that really stuck out and the few players that was like, dang, I really wish I didn't have to see that. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video for the Detroit Lions. Not for the other team. I mean, I guess we could do this for the other team as well, but I'm just talking about our Lions. Fortunately, I think we have more studs than duds in this game. But yeah, we're going to touch on both sides for sure. But you guys know me. We're going to start off with the studs first. We're going to start off with those players that stuck out to you and it was like, yeah, they played a good game. That was great. All right, so let's hop into it. In no order, the first player is, of course, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was a stud against the Washington football team. Okay, look, Matthew Stafford played really well. And not like a stud in your wall. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how to throw that joke in there. It didn't come out well. It was not good. Just act like I didn't say that. Okay, stud. Matthew Stafford was a stud in this game. Look, Stafford played 2 rough weeks in a row. Okay, he had a rough game against Indianapolis. He had a rough game against Minnesota, which really made the game look a lot worse than I think it actually really was. But then he got back in practice. You know, he got back home. He got comfortable again. And against the #1 passing defense, a great defensive line with 4 first-round picks, a defensive line that had 27 sacks. We scored 30 points. He put up some great stats. He actually had a higher QBR than Alex Smith, who had 390 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Stafford looked comfortable. He looked good. And wow, it was nice to see. We know we're going to need that. We're going to need that in the second half of the season. And what a way to get the second half started with a game like this. Against that defense, I was impressed. But without our offensive line, who is the next stud, this couldn't have happened. Look, the offensive line played well. Now, it wasn't perfect. We did allow 1 sack. There was some times where there was some hits on him, but it played pretty well for the most part. Again, taking into consideration how good this defense was against the pass, they were above average against the run, and their ability to get pressure on the quarterback without even blitzing. And we only gave up 1 sack. Like, okay, you know, I'll take that. We also didn't even have Big V in this game. Oday Abushi. Shout out to Oday Abushi. Now, he did have a flag, but shout out to Oday. He played at that right guard position. You really didn't hear his name that much. These guys stepped up. Taylor Decker. I think Thielen pointed it out. It was actually a stat that came up at the beginning of the game. Taylor Decker, I don't even believe he allowed a sack in this game either. That's 11 straight games. Offensive line, you did your thing. You stepped up when we needed it. Next up, Everson Griffen. This guy was a stud, okay? I mean, the eye test alone was like, dude, this guy just keeps hitting the quarterback. I was like, man, I think he had like 5 quarterback hits. I may have been, you know, a little generous with that one. Turns out I wasn't. I looked up his stats today. He had 5 quarterback hits. He hit the quarterback 5 times. He also had a sack and a tackle for loss. Everson Griffen, man, he was eating. Everson Griffen was eating. It was like, dang, that's what we traded for. That's what we were hoping to get when we traded for Everson Griffen. The dude looked good. The contain was great. The backside help was awesome. And man, this guy was hitting the quarterback over and over and over. 5 quarterback hits. Into perspective, Romeo Okwara, his best game so far this year was 4 quarterback hits. Trey Flowers' best game is only 1 quarterback hit. Everson Griffen had 5 in his second game as a Detroit Lion without Trey Flowers on the field. Can you imagine when this guy's back with Romeo? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey, Everson Griffen was a stud. DeAndre Swift, the real deal. I mean, he's the real deal, okay? It's just that simple. He's taking over that running back role. Now, the Lions will always keep somewhat of a rotation to make sure that they're not overusing the running backs as the season goes on because, you know, there's a lot of wear and tear on their body when you're getting hit every time you touch the football. But Swift is the real deal. This looks like the top running back in the draft class, okay? You know, we've seen flashes, and it was like, all right, you know, he looks okay. Oh my goodness. When this guy gets the opportunity, this is now back-to-back weeks, he looks good. DeAndre Swift looks really good. Aside from the Colts game, man, where we couldn't run at all, this guy looks really good. Now, his vision sometimes is up and down, but this game he looked really good with his vision. He was hitting the holes. He is extremely explosive. He can run between the tackles. He hits the defender. He's not afraid to lower the boom, man. He gets the outside. He's got a lot of speed, and his ability to catch the football. No drops. He had a touchdown. He had 68 yards. Swift is the real deal. The guy averaged 5 yards a carry on 16 carries. against the Washington football team. He's averaging, I think, like 4.8 or 4.9 on the season. Swift's the real deal, man. This guy's it. He's the future of that running back position. Marvin Jones Jr., Reggie Ragland. Those guys were studs. All right, I get a little bit less, maybe. A little bit less for Ragland, but he made some big plays, and he knew, what they had to do. And also Marvin Jones Jr. He looked like the number one. He looked like, okay, this is Marvin. This is the Marvin we were hoping for with Golladay out. This is that Marvin Jones Jr. 8 receptions, 96 yards. He was big time. He had a touchdown. And finally, last but not least at all, Frank Heron. I can't forget Frank. This guy stepped in. He was just activated off the practice squad, and he was doing some good things. Like, his stats weren't ridiculous. He actually got injured. I don't know how serious it was, but he looked good. Like, Frank was getting someone to push. I have to mention him. Now, on to the duds, unfortunately. Hey, look, just because they're duds this week doesn't mean next week they'll be duds. I think they can get out of their own way. I think they'll be okay. But just kind of, a couple of rough situations here. J-Ron Curse. I think J-Ron Curse had a rough game, okay? He allowed the 4th and 13, which basically kept them alive. He had the holding call, which made it from 3rd and 10 to 1st and 10, put them about at our 5-yard line. No, he just wasn't great against the Washington football team. He struggled a little bit against Logan Thomas. Wasn't completely awful, but he definitely wasn't very good. He was on the field a ton. We're really taking away Tavai. Tavai only played in 12% of snaps defensively. That's one of the other guys I have listed. He only played in 12% of the defensive snaps. Curse has taken over a huge role, even with Tracy Walker back. So that's great. He just struggled a little bit. Just gave up some big plays. But we need him to be a leader. We need him to be great for our defense. And he'll give you the energy off the field. We love to see it on the field as well. I'm going to put Jeff Okudah as a dud. Okudah wasn't very good. Again, I don't like him in zone, so I put this one a little bit on coaching, okay? Putting him in a zone situation is not the move. He's just not there yet, okay? It has to be Amani. Unless you have to put him out there, it's got to be Amani, in my opinion, for going zone. Obviously, you don't want to tip your hand with the defenses, but he just really can't do it yet. Again, he didn't do it much in college. He's still trying to pick up on it. He just isn't ready to play zone consistently. He just struggles there. He also missed a few tackles, which is unlike Okudah. It really is. He seemed a little off in this game. He just seemed a little off. And yeah, because of that, I'm going to give him a dud. Now, when you're in and out, when you're rotating out, that can be tough. But I'm going to put him as a dud here. Jelani Tavai, only 12% of the snaps. This is really something that's been going on for a little while now. Just kind of looks slow. I mean, he was a slow player on the draft, though, so what do you really expect? Definitely hoping for a guy in Jelani Tavai to have a really big role this season. And fortunately, he's been kind of the opposite, right? He's been kind of trending the other way. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you have to adjust and you just have to make changes. This doesn't mean his whole career is going to be bad. Okay, that's not what that means. He's still got a lot of time. This is only his second year in the NFL. But as of now, it's just his role has been really taken away. Kerryon Johnson. Now, you only got one touch, so it's really tough to say he was a dud. But that one touch only went for 3 yards. I honestly don't know why we put him in the game there. I like Kerryon. You guys know I like Kerryon, okay? Okay, I definitely protect Kerryon. And, I root for him for sure. But I don't know why we put him in the game. This again goes to coaching. I'm not sure why we put this guy in the game in the 3rd quarter. I was like, dude, this guy hasn't played all game. Swift's eating. Peterson was doing fine. He's averaging 5 yards carry. He only had 4. And then he put carry and he gets 3. Not a big opportunity. Again, this one's probably a little bit more on the season thing, but I'm not exactly sure why they put him in there. So that one, again, a little bit on coaching. Desmond Trufant as well. Didn't think he was bad. I thought that pass interference call was awful. But I think it's fair to put him in here when you look at the numbers because he did give up a big play. It was really at the end of the game. He was fine. I think he was playing really well until like the 4th quarter where he had the flags on him and they kind of piled up, right? He had 2 on the final drive, I think. He also allowed a big pass, which kept the drive alive on, I think it was the 3rd and 13. So near the end of the game, he really struggled. Again, I don't think that was a flag, the pass interference they called where he jumped the route. So I have a lot of trust. I have a lot more faith now in what Desmond Trufant can be because when I saw him earlier this year, I was like, man, this guy is really concerning me. But he's stepping his game up, no question about it. But a little consistent near the end of the football game there. So those are my duds. Really no one else I think that stuck out to me as a dud. I mean, I think special teams as a whole, again, stud. I leave them for the end because that whole special teams group, and Prater's doing that, this special teams group, probably the best in the NFL. I mean, it probably is. I don't really see any other duds. I mean, I can't think of a guy that really like stuck out to me and was like, man, this guy really was bad. That was it. I think those were the main guys that struggled. I mean, as a whole, you want to be able to get off the field and things like that. But I think those were the duds, but I think there were definitely a lot of studs. And I think offensively, the offense clicked. I mean, you scored 30 points for only the 2nd time this year. You scored in every quarter, which is awesome. I think only the 2nd time this year against that defense. Does that not tell you what this offense can be when Stafford's clicking? I mean, think about it. Kenny wasn't even there. This is the first time you went without Kenny. You're playing a top defense and you score 30 points. You score in every quarter. What this offense can be. What this offense can be if Kenny Golladay is healthy and Stafford is clicking. It's awesome. It's awesome. This is what we were hoping to see coming into the year. And we finally saw that glimpse of it. Now, if we can ride this throughout the rest of the season, this team can make something happen. They can make some noise. But it's really going to come through this offense. So those are my studs and duds. Let me know your studs and your duds. Who stood out to you? And what player you're like, dang, that was not good. Thank you for watching. And I'm out. Are you kidding me right now? I had to put my helmet on for this one. Are you kidding? Look at this. Look at all these members. What? Yo, hey, shout out to all the members, man. Look how many All-Pro members there are. Like, literally, it's the whole screen, dog. This is crazy. The patrons, of course, the Hall of Fame members, man. Y'all got the gold color. It's kind of yellow, but it's supposed to be gold. Shout out to all the members, man. If you want to be a part of this, all you got to do is join the channel. But there are perks that come with it. Stay locked in the community tab if you are a member, because that's where a lot of information comes out. I appreciate all of you. What?